Good day, greetings. Today we are doing graphs. So we have a question here. Let me read it out for you and discuss a few things before we start. Consider the function f of x is equals to ax squared plus c and g of x is equals to bx plus q. They are telling us that f and g intersect at points A and B. Okay. So this statement tells us that these two graphs will be touching at these 2 points, which is point A and point B. Okay. And we can see that this graph f of x is a parabola because of the this x squared here, right? And then we know that the rule of this A is going to determine the way the parabola is going to look. It's either going to be sad or happy. And then this C tells us where the parabola is going to cut the y-axis. Here we can tell that this is a straight line. This is in the form of mx plus c. B is the gradient of the straight line, and this q is also telling us where the straight line is going to cut the y-axis. Question 4.1 want us to calculate the values of A and C. The values of what? A and C. Well, it is obvious that you have to use these 2 points for you to get what? The values of A and C. Well, what you'll have to do is that you have to substitute these points into this graph of f of x, and then also we're going to have what? 2 unknowns after doing that, which is A and C. And then after that you substitute the values of this point B into the graph of f of x, and then you'll be having one unknown. You'll have one unknown, and then after doing that you'll be able to calculate your A and C. Without wasting time, let me demonstrate what I'm saying. Don't know if yeah. So here f of x is equals to ax squared plus c. Let's substitute point A. If we substitute point A, our y is minus 3. Minus 3 is equals to A. What is x? X is minus 1 plus c. We don't know what is c. Okay. Minus 3 is equals to minus 1 squared is going to be what? Just 1. So 1 times A is just going to be A plus c. So you see you have 2 unknowns. So what you have to do is that you now have to use what? You now have to use point B. If you are using point B, what is our y? Y is 0. And then we have A. What is x? X is what? X is 2. We have squared here plus c. So remember, when you have a point like this, this is your y, this is your x. This is your y, this is your x. Okay. Now here 2 squared is 4. So 4 times A is going to be what? 4A plus c. Or did I say we're going to have one unknown here? No, we still have 2 unknowns, but then you have to make at least one letter subject of the formula. Either you can use this one or this one. So let me choose this one. So our c is going to be what? Negative 4A. You simply take this term and transport it to the other side. So it's going to be what? Negative 4A. Okay. So let's take this c and substitute here in the other equation. So you can say this is your equation 1, this is your equation 2. All right. Okay. Minus 3 is equals to A plus what? Minus 4c. So we're gonna have what? Minus 4A. Simply positive times negative is gonna be what? Negative. Like minus 4A. Something like this. Positive times negative is minus 4A. Right. Okay. So here 1, this is similar to saying 1 minus 4. We're going to have what? Minus 3. Minus 3A. We have minus 3 this side. Divide both sides by minus 3. Your A is what? Your A is 1. They also want us to calculate C. So C, what can we do? We can take this A and substitute back into this equation. You can say this is okay, right? So we're gonna have C as what? Negative 4. A is 1. So your C is minus 4. So we already see that the parabola is gonna cut the y-axis at minus 4, and it's also happy. This thing, this number 8, because it's positive, we know that the parabola is gonna look like this. And here we know that the parabola is gonna cut this line way at minus 4. Okay, cool. We answered the first question, 4.1. Calculate the values of A and C. We are done. Okay, let's now answer the second question, 4.2. It says to us, calculate the values of B and Q. Well, this is a function that contains B and Q. And I already showed or explained that this is a straight line, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we can first get the gradient because we have 2 points already. So if you have 2 points, you can calculate the gradient of a straight line without hesitation. So let's do that. The gradient, which is usually denoted by M, by letter M, right? So it's going to be equal to y at point B minus y at point A all over x at point B minus x at point A. Right. What is y at point B? Y at point B is 0. We're going to subtract what? Y at point A, which is minus 3. Okay. What is x at point B? That is 2. Subtracting what? X at point A. You have yourself minus 1. Negative times negative. That gives you positive 3. 2 minus, okay, negative times negative is going to be what? Positive. So you're going to have what? 2 plus 1. That's what? 3. The gradient of a straight line is 1. Okay. So now let's calculate Q. What is Q? Q is where the straight line is going to cut the y-axis. Okay, so how do we get that? Well, since you have the gradient, we can say, oh, let's take any point you want. Let's take point B. So if we are taking point B, our y is going to be 0. Our y is going to be 0, right? G of x denote y. Okay, it's similar to y. So B is 1. You don't have to write that one. What is x? X is 2. And then plus q. So you simply transport these 2 to the other side. You then have yourself negative 2. So we are done with question 2. Let's answer question 4.3. Sketch the graphs of f and g. Okay, and g on the same set of axes. Well, let's first write our functions with known values. So our parabola, the a was 1, so we're just going to have what? A squared here. The north was c, negative 4. And for our straight line, g of x, the gradient was 1, so we're just going to have x, and then q was minus 2. So we're going to have what? Minus 2. Okay. Now with this information, what we just have to do is to calculate the two values of x where the parabola is going to cut the x-axis. So that is x-intercept, then y is what? 0. Okay, so if y is 0, then let's get the values of x values where the graph is going to cut the x-axis. So we have x squared is equals to 4. We simply transport this number to the other side, change the sign, square root on both sides. The square root of 4 is x is going to give us plus minus 2. After that, after getting the values whereby the parabola will cut the x-axis, you draw your Cartesian plane. There is no need for you to use a ruler. You just have to do a rough sketch as long as you show all the points. So let's plot point A. Plot A was what? Was -1 and -3, and B was at 2 and 0. So this is A at x -1 and y at -3. And then point B, it's where y is at 0 and x is at 2. So this is point B. This is point B, this is point A. And then now we know that the parabola is going to cut the x-axis at -2 and +2. And then also it's going to cut the y-axis at -4. All right. And then the straight line is going to cut the y-axis at -2. So this is the parabola cutting at -4, going all the way up to point B. Okay. And then it has to go through point A because it does intersect this line. It cuts on -2. The straight line have to go through -2 here. Yes, this point, and then it goes like this. Am I not using a ruler? I use a ruler. So this is g of x. This is g of x. The straight line is g of x, and then the parabola, it's f of x. And then you're done. You get your full marks. We are done putting the graph. Let's now answer question 4.4. For which values of x is g of x, which is the straight line? This simply means that the values of y of the straight lines are going to be greater than the values of y of the f of x, which is the parabola. Where is that? This is the y-axis, and it contains y values. So for the straight line, you can see that from this point up to this point, the values that are on this line, they are greater than that of the parabola because they are below. This simply means that the straight line is on top of the parabola. Where is that on the Cartesian plane? It's this section. I don't know how I can highlight it. It's this section because g of x is on top of f of x. You get that? Here, from this point, if you go to the left, the parabola is on top of the straight line. And then here, the parabola is also on top of the straight line. From where? From +2 going all the way to the positive infinity. But here, between point A and point B, it is where the straight line is on top of the parabola. G of x is greater than f of x, the y values. So you answer like this: 2 and -1. Or you can simply say, if you don't want to answer like this, you can say x is an element of 1 and
Actually
2.
here it's not 1 and 2 but -1 and 2.
This
It's a mistake.
square bracket shows that you are including 1 and 2. This equal sign here below the inequality signs shows that you are including 1 and 2.